So, you want to help people, huh? You want to make something of yourself so you can jump in there and help others out, so you can make a difference, so you can make a change. Well, you don't have a job. Maybe you smoke too much. Maybe you drink too much. I don't know. Maybe you're overweight. How are you going to help other people if you can't help yourself? Well, I guess it's all about change, isn't it? Of course, it's a lot easier said than done when you talk about how you're going to make some changes in your life and do some things differently. How do you go about it? What do you do? Where do you start? Well, we're going to talk about that today on the Chris Top program, and a few other things too.
The Chris Top program. Hi, I'm Chris Top. First off, I want to thank you for tuning into the Chris Top program. While I try my best to keep the show as rated PG-13 as possible, sometimes things slip out, or sometimes things happen, and that's just the way live radio goes. And because this is the internet, the FCC isn't around to tell me what I can and can't do. So because of the occasional slip-up or the guess that might get out of hand, you really need to be 18 or older to listen. If you happen to be under 18, please make sure you get your parents' permission. Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
I am the one and only Chris Top.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment.
The VCR and the DVD, there was a lot of back in 1970. We didn't know about the World War Web, was a whole different game being played back when I was a kid. Wanna get down in a cool way, picture yourself on a beautiful day. Big bell bottoms and groove long hair, just walking in style with a portable MP3 play. You can listen to the music on the Chris Top program. Chris Top program, Chris Top program. You can hear the music on the Chris Top program. Chris Top program.
The one and only Chris Top.
Wanna hear the music on the Chris Top program. Chris Top program. Chris Top program. You can hear the talk in the Chris Top program.
Sunny Clarksville, Tennessee.
You can hear the talk in the Chris Top program.
This is the Chris Top program.
And I am the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee, with an ocean view. You know, Desi caught me. I actually put, I always, for the title of my show, I put the Chris Top program, then I put the date. Well, I started prepping on the 18th, but now it's the 19th, so I'll go back and change it after the show. So I got called out on that one. Today's going to be an interesting show. I'm going to start it out like normal. We'll talk about a couple of little things, and if you want to interject, feel free to do that. I love it when you bring up things in the chat. A lot of times you guys give me a different perspective, and that's pretty cool. That's something that you don't have on regular terrestrial radio. Well, I guess you do more so nowadays because of Facebook and things like that, but the chat's sort of right in my face so I can see it, because I get sidetracked pretty easily. But feel free to Facebook with me. You can tweet with me. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pull my Twitter up on my phone, and I'll sit it right here. In case you want to throw out a couple of tweets, you can do that. But I'm going to bring up my Twitter, and there it is. So you can tweet with me, you can tumble with me, all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about change today. Where do you start? What do you do? I mean, every year, and I know it's already, it's June. I know this. New Year's resolutions, most of them have been forgotten now, but why? Why do we let this stuff go? Why do we, for sure, want to make these changes in our lives, and then we fall short, and then we can't do it? Has a lot to do with willpower, right? I mean, we lie to ourselves, and we tell ourselves, it's easy to say I'm going to go on a diet when you have a full stomach, right? You're 100% sure you're going to go through with it this time. It's a done deal. Then the next time you're hungry and you're walking past a candy store, or you walk past a Hershey's bar, and then you go, well, one Hershey's bar is not going to hurt, right? So you give in. And then you start a cycle, and it's a habit, right? So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff here in just a little while. I felt kind of, sort of, like halfway being serious tonight. I don't know. It just, when the mood strikes me, I go for it. Who do you think drinks the most vodka? And I know this is totally off the subject, but I told you I'm going to start out regular, and then we'll kind of slip into the other stuff. Oh, I saw Superman today. My daughter wanted to go out with me, so we decided to. Well, we had a couple of days. It was kind of up in the air. I kind of sort of had plans tonight, but I canceled them because I miss her, and I wanted to see her and hang out with her. And then she texts me back later, and she says, well, can Christian come too? And that's her brother. Of course he can come. See, that was always our thing. We always go and check out the newest superhero movies and stuff because we're like-minded when it comes to that stuff. But I was really impressed with the Superman movie. It was very good. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not, because the trailers did enough of that, trust me. Did I like it as much as Batman? No, I didn't. I didn't like it as much as Batman, but it's the best Superman movie we've had in 30 years, maybe. Really, really good. So you need to definitely check that out. Now, okay, let me ask you this question too. Who do you think drinks the most? Now, I'm going to throw this out there now, then you can answer it. What country is the biggest tequila drinker? All right, now first I asked about vodka. Well, I mean, it's a stereotype that Russians drink a lot of vodka, right? But a recent study, I think broccoli gives me gas. I just ate a bunch of broccoli before I did my broadcast, and maybe it's the Mountain Dew. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm drinking Mountain Dew, but I've also got one of those Powerades here because it's getting kind of late, and I didn't want to get dehydrated. I don't know if it's the broccoli doing that or if it's I don't know, but there's a recent study by a market research firm that says that Russians absolutely, see what I did there? Drink the most amount of vodka. Now, vodka is by far the most popular drink the most popular liquor in the world, and that's partly due to the fact that nobody enjoys it quite like Russia. Now, in 2012, almost 2 billion liters were drunk in Russia. That's 13.9 liters per person. Now, the United States is the second largest vodka consumer with 1.9 billion liters of vodka. Now, also in the study, you've got places like India, they drink the most rum. France drinks the most scotch. And the biggest tequila drinker is not Mexico, but it's the United States. You didn't see that one coming, did you? So what's in your cabinet? That's what I want to know. I don't drink a whole lot. I really, really, really don't. And it's probably going to be a while before I drink again. But I have vodka I put it in my freezer. I don't know where else to put it. And I still got a lot, and it's just going to sit there because I've had rum in my freezer for well over a year, maybe 2 years now. I don't even know if it's still, does rum go bad? I have no idea. Somebody help me with that. Now, there's an English politician who claims to have fathered a child with an alien. I'm not talking about like an illegal alien. I'm talking about like a E.T. kind of alien. I just don't understand. I really don't understand. What will happen is that we will hold hands and I will say, I'm ready. And then the technology, I don't understand, will take us up to a craft orbiting the Earth. And that's the married father of 3. He's from England. Leave it up to those crazy Brits, right? His name's Simon Parks. And he's explaining how he fathered a child dubbed Zarka. I don't think this guy would be in office here. What's going on with you, England? Seriously. He had a child named Zarka with an alien that he calls Cat Queen. I think maybe he was just drugged and he had maybe an experience with a transgender, possibly. And he just doesn't want to admit it. Now, in an interview with the Northern Echo, he's 53, he says he has had sex with the E.T. about 4 times a year. And his wife doesn't really like this too much. But I guess maybe she doesn't really consider it cheating because it's not really with a person, it's with an alien, right? Now, he also claims that his real mother is a big green alien with 8 fingers. I promise you I'm not making this up. Says he's not crazy and that his extraterrestrial relationships don't affect his work. And apparently he's been alien-friendly since childhood. His first memory is getting lifted out of his crib by one when he was actually just a baby. That's Simon Parks. And thank God he's in the UK. Now, we were talking about dating last night on the show. And I know in some recent past shows, we've talked about some really bad dating experiences. Well, I wish I would have come across this before I did that, because this has got to be one of the worst. And I want you to listen to this real quick. I mean, we've all had really bad first dates. But what happened to this guy, this 34-year-old guy from Florida? This happened last Friday. I mean, it totally blows anything else away. Now, his story allegedly goes like this. Boy meets girl at a convenience store. So note to self, don't pick up women at convenience stores. I'm going to put that right under don't pick up women at prison. Okay, so he meets a girl at a convenience store. They arrange to go out. So the girl picks up the boy with 2 men in the car. Now see, to me, that would be a red flag right off the bat. First date, girl picks you up, and there's 2 other guys in the car. Red flag. Red flag. Said she's dropping them off before taking the boy to dinner. Okay, so maybe she's like super uber hot. And he decides, well, maybe his little voice in his head wasn't working. He just ignored the 2 guys in the back seat. Okay, she's hot. She says she's going to drop him off before we go to dinner. That's cool. So he gets in the car. The car turns down a side street. That's another red flag. Maybe as they're turning at this point, just jump out. Go ahead, just skin your knees and get home. So the boy gets out of the car, not to run or anything like that. He gets out of the car to go pee in an empty cow pasture. Isn't this just a weird first date? Okay, I met you at a convenience store today. You picked me up with 2 other guys in the car. We're going down this road I've never seen before. I have to pee. Do you mind? Do you mind if I get out real quick and just go take a leak? So he's taking a leak in a cow pasture. And while he's taking a leak, and see, this is a nightmare, just because I would pee all over myself. I mean, literally, because he got hit in the face twice with a hard metal object. Then he was robbed, and he was stripped of his clothes at gunpoint. Now, he's okay, but I'm guessing he's probably not interested in a second date. Call me crazy, but he probably doesn't want to go out with that girl again. I mean, isn't that nuts? See, this stuff really happens. You got to be careful. See, just when it's a first date, meet them somewhere. Don't let them pick you up. Just go meet them somewhere. Make sure it's safe. And if you happen to let them pick you, if there's 2 guys in the back seat, don't get in the car. Just don't do it. I'd like to welcome everybody that's in the chat today. We have Totally Inappropriate Radio that's in the chat. Waba, back to you. And we've got Desi in the chat. Desi, it's always good to see you. See you. It's been forever, Desi. It's about time you came around. See, I knew when I posted on the Facebook page that a few of you would be here just because, well, I got some responses for a change. So it was nice. Lisa, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping in the chat and saying hi. And yes, Clinton, El Dorco is on. You, Clinton, have met your match. It's good to see you, buddy. And, yeah. See, it's not going to be a totally serious show. It's really not. It's going to be kind of fun. And, see, notice how I say kind of fun. See, I think a lot of times all my shows are just kind of fun. So Desi likes Batman more than Superman, so I'm guessing she's seen them both. Clinton says the Superman movie was only a C+ at most. I liked it. I liked the fact that it was kind of dark and kind of gritty, and I liked the Flash. See, I don't want to give away too much. I really, really don't want to give away too much. But I thought it told the story very well, and I would definitely go see a sequel. Now, the last Superman movie that came out, I didn't want anything else to do with it. I was done. I was totally done. And I'm glad they got rid of the underwear on the outside. I'm happy that Superman finally grew up and he learned how to put his underwear on the inside. I was very happy about that. And, they explained so much stuff, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It really was. And we've got Cookie in the chat, and you probably know Cookie from the show. She's actually co-hosted with me once, and then she let me pick her brain once with an interview. So Cookie's in the chat with us. Always good to see you. And who else we got here? Clinton says, I was so glad that I saw the Superman movie at the matinee. If I had paid the full regular price, I would have been pissed. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a far better film than Man of Steel. I would totally have to disagree with that one. I really would. But I do remember the line from Kill It and See. I've seen that movie. I have. And I don't know. I guess that makes me a pretty big dork. But my favorite line was when all the tomatoes were sitting around the campfire and the guy that was undercover tomato said, pass the ketchup. See, that was a good line. It really was a good line. I enjoyed that. Now, I'm going to take just a quick little break. When I come back, we're going to delve into making changes in our lives. We're going to talk about at least how we get started. Now, and there's no miracle to making changes in your life. There's no easy way to go about it, but there are some different approaches that you can try that could possibly help you out. So there you go. And I say this every time I do something. I mean, what do I know? I'm a dork, right? But I mean, some of this stuff's going to make sense. And I've been around for a while. I kind of sort of know what I'm talking about. And I'll go ahead and give you some great advice right now. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. Trust me, I know. I make mistakes every single freaking day of my life. It's okay to make them as long as you learn from them. And the funny thing is, we can see other people make mistakes all the time, but for some reason, unless it happens to us, we just don't really learn anything from it, do we? So, it's tough. It really is tough. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how to make changes, how to maybe straighten your life up a little bit. Because what I said at the beginning of the show was true. I mean, if one of your objectives in life is to get out there and just really help people, or maybe you want to donate money to charity, that kind of thing, that's great. But I mean, you really have to start with yourself. You really have to improve yourself. And then when you set out to help people, then when you set out to donate to charity or take care of your family, then it's going to be so much better. I mean, when you are, and I don't want to say educated, because, I mean, some people go a long way without a college degree, right? I mean, you got to have a little common sense at least. But when you're prepared to actually help people, then you can do great things. You can change not only that person's life, but you can change communities. And it really, really can be done by just one person. But we'll talk about that in just a little while.
The Chris Top program. When I die, I'm going to haunt the absolute fuck out of you people.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep, I'm running out. As time ticks by, still I try. No rest for cross stops in my mind. On my own, here we go. My eyes feel like they're gonna bleed. Dried up and bulging out my skull. My mouth is dry, my face is numb. Screwed up and spun out in my room. On my own, here we go. My mind is set on overdrive. The clock is laughing in my face. A crooked spine. My senses dull, past the point of delirium. On my own, here we go. My eyes feel like they're gonna bleed, dried up and bulging out my skull. My mouth is dry, my face is numb, screwed up and spun out in my room. On my own, here we go.
Definitely cutting edge radio. The Chris Top Program.
Take it from the top.
Sometimes I think I push people a little too hard. It's because I want the best.
Life is good, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so do you need some time to prepare, or are you ready?
Take it from the top.
The Chris Top Program on Spreaker and PKN Radio.
Life is good, and I am gone. Yeah, yeah.
It's more hip than you might think to be a dork, kiddies. Let's take a gander at little emo Timmy. Just take a look at those arms. I don't think little emo Timmy should be allowed to play with any sharp objects for the rest of his life. How about you? Billy the Jock is riddled with herpes because of all those naughty cheerleaders. How do those pom-poms look now, kids? I think Bobby the Geek is going to live in his mom's basement for the rest of his life. I'll bet you he'll have a nice collection of tourists in his fridge by the time he's 30. Be a dork, be proud, be hip.
Thank you, guys, once again for being here. It's after midnight, and you're in the chat, and you really do. You give me the warm and fuzzies. You really do. And hey, we're going to talk about once we're done with the with the serious talk. Why so serious? We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about maybe some superhero movies, because there's some exciting stuff on the horizon. There really is. The next Spider-Man movie, possible Wonder Woman in the works, another Terminator movie. And what else? There was a couple of more that are actually in the works, possibly as early as next summer. And I hope you guys aren't getting sick of superhero movies, because, I mean, keep going to see them, because I absolutely love it. And I'm looking forward to that Lone Ranger movie coming out too. That looks good. You know, and when I was a little kid, I grew up watching the Lone Ranger. They were reruns. I'm not that old. They were reruns, so it's going to be really, really neat to see what they do with it today. And from the previews, it looks really exciting. So I'm pretty excited about that one. But we're going to talk about some of the gossip that's surrounding some of the movies that are coming out possibly next summer, that kind of thing. So if you love the superhero movies, we got them at least another year after this one. So I'm pretty super excited about that one. Now, I do want to welcome Sarah to the chat. Sarah, it's good to see you. And it's always a pleasure to have Sarah in the chat. And we also have Steven. He says, I want to be warm and fuzzy, and that's why I drink. Steven, you can take a drink for me tonight. I'm laying off the bottle tonight. My vacation's almost over. I've got tomorrow off, and then I go back on Thursday. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be easy, because I've kind of gotten lazy, I think. But, you know, it's just going to take me a day or two to sort of get back into the groove. So I'll be okay. I will. Now, Stephen, have you ever been in the chat before? If you haven't been in the chat, I have to ask you this question. Are you a dork? I mean, that's a good question, because this show is designed around the lifestyle of a dork. So, Stephen, if you're ready to step from the closet and embrace the light of your dorkhood, then this is the right place for you. And also, wait a minute. Oh, I do. Okay, I do remember. Okay, you've been in here before. But I'm still going to say this anyway. If you want to go ahead and post your dorky picture on the Facebook page, then that would be good too. And that way it makes you a cool dork, if there is any such thing. And maybe there's not. I don't know. And hello, Sonia. How are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're talking about real life change. How do you make that change? You know, a lot of times people will say, well, he wasn't able to do it because, well, he wasn't ready to change. That's crap. Everybody has something in their lives that they despise. Everybody has something in their lives that they're ready to change. And it's kind of a cop-out. Well, I mean, if he really wants to stop smoking, he could stop smoking. Of course he wants to stop smoking. But what's holding him back? That's the question. Why can't he go through with it? Why has he tried 20 times and he still picks up a cigarette and lights it? What's keeping you from doing it? I mean, evidently he wants to do it. He's tried 20 times, right? So what's holding him back every time? Stephen says, I'm like the dork that goes for the knife when someone slits my throat, and that happened too, if you remember. I get sidetracked. Okay, I've got to concentrate because I do care about what you guys say in the chat. I really do. All right, one more. Lisa says, hey, here's a serious question for some serious talk. What happens when you're not happy with something, but you don't want to let it go, but nothing is getting better? So what happens when you're not happy with something? Well, if you're not happy with something, then you have to let it go. I mean, what's keeping you? What's holding you back from letting it go? You're not making a rational decision. If it's something that's slowing you down, or if it's something that's not letting you live your life the way that you want to live it, it's a pretty easy answer. See, sometimes you've got to be logical over emotional. You've got to think with your brain instead of your heart, Lisa. And I'm sure I'm assuming you're talking about a relationship. And that's just an assumption. But if the guy's bad news, kick him to the curb. Just get rid of him. That's all in the world you have to do. See, when you're stuck in a bad relationship, and guys, okay, look, don't take this the wrong way. All right, you should know by now, Sarah and I broke up. Sarah's in the chat. We're still friends. We still text. We still talk. We still get along. We do. So don't read anything into what I'm saying here. This has nothing to do with her. But when you're in a bad relationship, you just have to get out. And see, I got sidetracked because I was going to make a pretty damn good point. But the thing is, if you're stuck in a bad relationship and the person that you're with, they're not letting you do the things that you want to do. They're holding you back. See, Lisa, the thing is, do you want to settle being in a relationship, and do you want to settle for just being normal? I mean, if you just want to be normal, that's fine. But if you have this deep desire in your heart to be an inspiration, and this person's holding you back, then maybe you should move on. Sometimes you have to think with your head and not your heart. It's not like it is in the movies all the time. You know? Stephen says, Lisa, it's okay to love someone, but knowing it will not work out. And I'm assuming he was going to say it's a bad idea. And Sarah says, that's the hardest thing to do, hon. Just be sure it's what you want and don't look back. Then hide from it if all other things fail. Guys are always bad news. And that's from Sarah. So making decisions. You know, if you didn't want to change something, you wouldn't even be considering it, right? So if your gut tells you that it's time for a change, then more than likely it's time for a change. Now, you have to realize the power of decision making, right? So before you start to make a decision, you have to understand what a decision does. Because if you take it lightly, the power of the word loses, or the word loses its power. I always go back to using the word awesome because that's sort of the theme of this show. The theme of my show is about change. Do you get that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Working on being awesome. Am I ever going to be awesome? No. Are greasy French fries awesome? No, they're not. When you call greasy French fries awesome, the word awesome loses its power. If every other day someone reached that hierarchy of awesomeness, then it really wouldn't be worth as much, would it? So the word decision, it's right up there with the word awesome. The word decision's right up there with the word love. And I'm not talking to you if you're one of those people that when you go out on a date with somebody and the next day you're talking to them on the phone, oh, I love you. I love you too. No, you don't. You don't love them. So decision, the word decision is an important word. So any decision that you make, it's going to cause a chain of events to happen. Now, you have to make this decision and put this decision into effect before it causes the chain of events to happen. So when you decide to pick up a cigarette and to smoke it, that decision might result in what? In you picking up another cigarette, and then another one, and then another one. After a day, you may have actually gone through a whole pack without even realizing it. But if you decide not to smoke that first cigarette and make a decision every 5 minutes, because you're going to want one every 5 minutes, to focus your attention somewhere else when you get that craving, after doing this for a week, your cravings will eventually subside. And then before you know it, you become smoke-free. So decisions, whether they're good decisions, whether they're bad decisions, it's going to cause a chain reaction. But either way, it comes down to that very first decision of deciding whether or not to pick up that cigarette. And this isn't a quit smoking show. This could be a decision where you need to get out of a bad relationship. This could be a decision where you need to drop 10 pounds. This could be a decision where you need to quit smoking. Maybe you drink too much. Maybe you need to work on your marriage. Maybe it's time to go back to school and there's something keeping you from making that decision. But really, what is it keeping you from making the decision? I mean, you can come up with excuses all day long. But if you've already made that decision and then you didn't go through with it, shame on you. Shame on you for being like everybody else who falls short. But the good news is, you can remember the power of the word decision. And you can do it all over again because each and every day is a new day. Each and every day defines who you are. The person you are right now is not the person you were yesterday. Remember that. When you wake up in the morning, you can be exactly who you want to be. Now, I came across this study, and I think this is going to help everybody out quite a bit. And I make fun of studies all the time, but this guy, he makes sense. His name's Jeff Wise. And I want you to listen to this. I want you to pay very close attention to this, because I really think this is genius. Let me go back to the chat real quick. Clinton says, if you date Superman, you'll be dating an illegal alien. That's a good point. That's a good point. And Sarah, I think she's still giving Lisa advice. At the end of the day, if you still want to lay down with that fool in bed, just make sure your heart is 100%, or you will go back. Let's see, what else is being said here? Steven says, greasy French fries are awesome with hot sauce. See, I didn't add the hot. When you add the hot sauce and ranch, it can make a difference. Elisa says, it's so conflicting. Like, one day everything is amazing, and I'm so happy, but then there's those few bad nights, and I'm just like, ugh. You know, Lisa, you don't need a man in your life to make you happy. You've got to figure out who you are. You've got to figure out what you want. You've got to figure out what Lisa needs in her life to get to where she needs to be. And this goes for everybody. You make yourself strong, it doesn't matter who's in your life. It doesn't matter who tries to tear you down, whether it's something they're trying to do consciously or not. It doesn't matter because you're better than that, because you're stronger than that. You have to remember that. You have to be able to depend on yourself. Because the way the world is today, there aren't too many people that you can depend on. So you've got to be strong, and you've got to be able to rely on yourself and not rely on some guy. 9 times out of 10, I hate to say it, but the guys are going to let you down. The guys are going to hack you off. It's not worth it. You've got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So stop using excuses and better yourself. Stephen says, girls suck more. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Stephen, why do you have to go there? Really? Why do you have to go there? I swear. Let's see what we got going on here. I think I got tweeted. See, I get confused sometimes. I do. I get confused between tweets and things like that. And I'm not going to mention any names, but thank you. Thank you for that. And I'm going to have to leave the rest of you wondering, but I know at least one person's going to get it. All right, now, I want you to pay close attention to this study. Now, if the definition of crazy, and we've all heard this, hang on a second, I need to get a drink. I need a drink. And that's my non-alcoholic Mountain Dew. You notice how my voice changes after I take a drink? It's like it energizes me or something. If the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, then guess what? Most of us qualify as being nuts. Isn't that the truth? I mean, we all want to change. We all want to make those decisions in our lives. But yet we keep doing the same things over and over and over again. It's almost like we're just waiting to win the lottery. Isn't it? Well, I got news for you. It's not going to happen. You're not going to win the lottery. You're going to have to put on your helmet. You're going to have to put on your shoulder pads. You're going to have to get out there and start hitting people to make some changes. Now, we want to change our lives for the better. We believe that we are capable of change, yet we find ourselves stuck in the same old rut. Does this sound familiar? Raise your hand. I've got mine raised. Now, there's one study that found that 90% of coronary bypass patients, they go back to their old unhealthy eating habits within 2 years of their operation. Now, you would think that was one of those situations where, all right, somebody's hit rock bottom. I mean, they've had their heart open on a table with knives and stuff in it. I mean, you would think that would be enough for somebody to change their habits. But evidently not. And don't let this discourage you, because it's possible. It's possible to make those decisions and to make real change. Now, another found that substantial majority of dieters regain all their weight within a year, or wind up even heavier than they were when they started. Hey, been there, done that. Been there, done that. I mean, when you're dieting, I know when I was in my early 30s, I was in good shape. But, I changed my lifestyle. I was working out. I was working out 6 days a week. I was doing cardio and then alternating working out 6 days a week. On top of that, I was playing racquetball. On top of that, I was riding my mountain bike 5 million times, or 5 million miles, a day. And I blew my knee out. But you see, I use that as an excuse. I made a decision when I blew my knee out to give up. So you see, it's not easy, and I know it's not easy, but listen, we fail to change time after time because we profoundly overestimate our stores of willpower. Now, there's actually a name for this. It's called restraint bias. Now, this is going to make sense, all right? You're going to have to just stick with me here because I really do want you to hear this. Now, we make resolutions, and we are so confident when we make these resolutions to change, and we assume that we'll be able to bulldoze just all of our urges, but we're bad at remembering how tempting temptation can actually be. And like I said earlier, when we're full, we forget how irresistible that bacon triple cheeseburger is when we're hungry. So we allow ourselves to walk into situations in which our willpower is going to be overwhelmed. But see, the thing is, you're not going to be able to take yourself out of these situations all the time. So you're going to really have to get in there, and you're really going to have to develop some good habits. Right? Now, not all resolutions are necessarily doomed. I mean, people, every day, they transform their lives. Every single solitary day. But for the most part, they don't do it, listen to this very carefully, they don't do it by relying on willpower. Now, this is so important. Listen to this. The key is to simply start behaving like the person you want to become. Maybe use your imagination a little bit. You know, one of the best ways to become rich and successful? It's to start acting like you're rich and successful. And I'm not talking about maxing out your credit cards. I'm not talking about spending money you don't have. Because rich and successful people don't do that. You have to live it and you have to believe it. You have to develop the habits. So what do? You imagine your future. You imagine your better self. Close your eyes. Close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture who you want to be in 5 years from now. I mean, everything that's around you, your home, your family, the car that you drive, what you're doing for work. Are you going to church on Sundays? I don't know. Is that your thing? Maybe it's not. So imagine yourself in 5 or 10 years from now, the person that you want to be. And just ask that person that is your inspiration, and the inspiration's you, remember? Because you really only can depend on yourself. So you ask the better person that is you, what would they do? Now, evidently, this approach works because of the rather surprising way that our brains form out self-judgments. Now, there have been a lot of experiments that have demonstrated that when it comes to forming beliefs about our own character, we don't peer inward, as you might expect. Instead, we observe our own external behavior. So, in other words, if we see ourselves carrying out a particular action, whatever the actual motivation, our self-conception molds itself to explain that reality. So let's break it down even more. Whatever you want to do, whatever changes you want to make, pretend that you've already done it. Pretend that you've already made it. And eventually, you're going to get there. It's not going to take years and years and years. It could start tomorrow morning. It could start tomorrow morning when you wake up. You know, when I first got on Spreaker, I had never, ever done anything like this. And I spent some time before I ever got on making myself believe, well, I can do this. I can get on there and I can talk for 30 minutes. Or, well, at first it was, well, can I even talk for 10 minutes on the microphone? I don't know if I can or not. Had I stopped right there, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you. I'm not saying I'm some great and wonderful DJ. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm the best radio personality. I'm not. Not even close. But I can do it. And the reason I can do it is because I told myself I could. Before I ever got on here to do this broadcast, I told myself that I could do it, and I could do it well. Now, the most effective way to move toward change is to act like you've already achieved it. Now, don't worry about playing mind games with yourself. Now, the way to become a fit person is to act like one. Really, if you think about it, if you want to go exercise, the hardest part, really, is putting on your tennis shoes. I mean, once they're on, there's pretty much a 100% chance of getting some form of workout done. I mean, because you got to ask yourself, why else would I have these shoes on? That's when you have to ask the future fit you a year down the road that's got the six-pack going on, that's got the tight butt that all the ladies look at when he walks down the street. That's when you've got to ask that guy. So I put the sneakers on, and do I grab a Hershey bar? No. Go ahead and grab the Hershey bar out of the freezer, because I know that's where you keep them. Grab the Hershey bar out of the freezer and just throw it away. Just throw it in the trash can. That's what I would do. And just go for a walk. That's where you're going to start. So you want to have these conversations with the future you. You want to pretend to be that person. Find a role model. Find an example of somebody that's already made it. And copy them. Do what they do. Try to do it better. It doesn't hurt. Learn from them. Use them. If you have the opportunity to meet these people in person and sit down and talk with them, pick their brain. Ask them question after question after question. As long as they'll listen and answer questions, ask them what they've done, how they got there. Because you need inspiration. You've got to have inspiration in your life. Now, obviously, you can't change your eternal reality overnight. But act out the change that you want. Day by day, the weight of evidence will become undeniable. Before long, the person you pretend to be becomes the person that you are. Let me say that again. Before long, the person that you pretend to be becomes the person that you are. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Now, there was an experiment. Researchers actually recruited subjects who said that they wanted to learn one new habit. Just one habit. And hopefully this is a good habit. Hopefully you're not going to try to take up smoking. And they asked them to perform the new behavior every day. After 60 days, most of them rated the newly learned habit as effortless to perform. So maybe your objective is to become wealthy. Well, you're not going to be able to wake up the next morning and be healthy or wealthy, obviously. But what are the steps that you can take to get there? And what are the steps you can take to each day give yourself some feeling of accomplishment? Maybe each and every day you can save $5. You could do that. You could skip going out to McDonald's for lunch and save that $5, right? So isn't that doing something each day to give you that feeling of success? You look back at the end of the week, you saved up $35. It's a baby step, I know. But you need some feeling of accomplishment every day of your life. You really do. Something positive needs to happen to you every day. And it could be something simple. It could be something, you might be in a grocery store and you might just make eye contact with somebody and smile. You never know. I mean, that person, maybe nobody smiled at them all week. Maybe somebody in their life, maybe they just lost somebody. And then when you smile at them, it puts a smile on their face, changes their day. You could change their lives with that simple little gesture. You may not know it. right? But it's going to make you feel better. And that's the stuff I'm talking about. Just little accomplishments every day. And then these are going to lead to bigger things. So maybe you say within a year, I want to put $5,000 into some sort of a CD or something. Well, if you're saving $5 a day, then that's not as hard as saying I want to put $5,000 into a CD tomorrow, is it? So you're taking these little steps, these little feelings of accomplishment just to keep you going, just to keep you inspired. Okay, let's go back to the chat because there's some more I want to talk about. Stephen says, perception is reality, and that is very, very true. It really is. Let's see. And I should. Sarah just busted me out on that. She says, you should really try that smiling thing, Chris. And I'm bad about that. I am, because I love my alone time, and I feel like I'm always around people, and I always have to talk. And sometimes when I'm alone and I have the opportunity to be by myself, I don't make eye contact. It's like, no, I don't want to get caught in a conversation. I'm going to look down. I might even have a frown on my face. See, I got called out on that. But sometimes I love my alone time. And maybe that's on my list. Find some alone time. So I accomplished that today. I always thought it was funny when someone lies to you. They really are just trying to save your feelings, but when it comes out itself, it hurts you 10 times more. Crazy how those lies work. Lisa says, I didn't always say good. I'd most of the time tell him about it. And if it was a bad day, I'd tell him it was a craptastic day, and he'd try to cheer me up. So I'm guessing, see, the chat, it really develops a life of its own, because I have no idea what they're talking about. But hey, whatever keeps people here, even if it's not me, that's fine. As long as you guys are having fun, then I'm glad you're here. I really am. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about making changes, making decisions. And guys, these are important words. I know I talk about awesome all the time, but decision, change, those are big words. Big words. Don't take them lightly. If you're going to make decisions in your life, understand the importance of the word, or it's not going to work out.
I am Dork Vader, leader of the Dork side. We are presently taking applications. When you look at the alternative, it's really not so bad. Honestly, I've even thought about calling it the not-so-bad side. It's really a pity when politics get in the way of true inspiration. Plus, the Dork side has cookies.
All right, if you happen to be a dork, and more than likely you are if you're listening to this, whether it's live right now, whether you're in the chat or not, then I want you to stand to your feet, place your hand over your heart, and I want you to say this. I want you to say, I'm a dork.
Yeah,
that's the wrong song. See, I don't ever like to start out with that one. I want you to say, I'm a dork, I'm proud, and I'm hip. This is the WABA National Anthem by my good buddy Belgium Tim.
Working on being awesome every day. I'm working on being awesome every day. W-O-B-A-W-O-B and yeah, I'm working on being awesome every day. I'm not really awesome to this day, but I'm working on being awesome every day. I'm not awesome today, but I'll be one day.
Yeah, Big N in the building, representing the dorks.
Dogs of the world unite, y'all. Yeah. Hey there, everybody, I got something to say. The sky ride over there is rubber every single day. Okay, what is rubber?
It gets so creepy cold thing.
No, dude, it's just a little dog singing. Well, W is working, O is on it, B is being, and A is for awesome, and that's the dog saying. I'm already awesome, but that's okay, cause Mr. Chris Top is too, but he just doesn't know it. And so are all of you from here on to the far. And just so you know, life is good and I'm gone.
I am the one and only Chris Top, self-proclaimed leader of all dorks.
I'm Chris Top, king of the dorks. That's right.
Yeah, I remember growing up when I was a little kid. My mom was so sweet. She would say things like, "Thank God, Chris, there's only one of you because you are so very special."
There is only one Easter Bunny, there's only one Jesus Christ, there's only one God, and there's only one Chris Top.
I am the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee, with an ocean view.
Actually, that's not true. I live next to a dumpster.
Meow! Shut up, Abby. Keep quiet. Yes, I know. I don't really have an ocean view. I have a view of the local hobo singing around a burning dumpster, but I don't want my fans to know that.
Does Chris Top have a mysterious side, a darker side, if you will? Well, I guess I do. You could compare my life to the Da Vinci Code.
C for Chris Top. H for holy mackerel, it's Chris Top.
Well, I don't know if my show would make sense if you played it backwards, but I do have a few things right in front of your face.
R for really awesome, Chris Top. I for I can't believe it's Chris Top. S for somebody pinch me, it's Chris Top.
Am I conceited? Am I conceited? No, I'm not.
T for terrific, Chris Top. O as in oh my god, it's Chris Top. And P for party time with me, Chris Top. Oh god.
Well, the ladies do like their Chris Top.
Oh god.
Well, that's it for today, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, life is good.
And I'm gone.
You know, that's the whole trick. Whenever I say that at the end of the show, sometimes you really have to convince yourself that life's good, because honestly, life can be shit. It really, really can. And you know this. I'm not living in some fantasy world. I have big problems every single day. I do. And I have to constantly remind myself that life is good. I have to constantly pretend sometimes that life is good. Right? Now, Lisa, she says she's exhausted. She's been up since 6 a.m. It's now 2 a.m. The next day. But thank you for all the advice, Nighty Night. And Lisa, thank you so much for stopping by, really. And go back and listen to the rest of the show tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, you're a new person, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have become the person that you want to be. Just don't look back. Now, real life change, and we'll go back to the study in a minute. Go with your gut. I mean, so many times we take too much time to make a decision because we're afraid of what's going to happen. But if we don't make that decision, the same crap's going to be happening all the time. Right? And then you've got people that go through things like careful planning, deep analysis, pros and cons before deciding. It's really, really a time-consuming process. It really is. So learn to trust your gut instinct. It's not going to be right every time, but for the most part, your first instinct is usually the one that's correct or the one that you truly wanted to go with. Even if you end up making a mistake. And what did we say about mistakes? You learn from them. It's okay to make a mistake. Go out there and try something and screw it up. It's fine. Just learn from it. So when you go with your gut, it makes you a more confident decision maker. A more confident decision maker. Compared to somebody that just takes all day to decide, and then by the end of the day, they've lost their inspiration. They no longer want to do it. Carry your decision out. When you make a decision, act on it. Do it. Don't look back. Just make it happen. So commit to making a real decision. What's a real decision? Well, it's when you decide on something and that decision is carried out through action. So the word's getting more important. You not only have to decide something, but you actually have to go through with it. You can't put it off. You can't procrastinate. If you're going to make a decision, just do it. It's pointless to make a decision and have it played out in your head, but not do anything at all about it. And it's not only pointless, it's just sad. I mean, it's the same thing as not making a decision at all. So if you want to make real changes in life, you have to make it a habit. You have to apply action with your decision. Here's another important word. Until it's completed. Decision, action, completion. And this is a motto I always used. In business and in life. It's not WABA. Plan for success and execute that plan. I'll say it again because I want you to remember it. Plan for success and execute that plan. So by going through this so many times, you're going to feel more confident with accomplishing the next decision that you have in mind. So it starts with that first decision, you put it into action, you complete it, then you move on to the next one. Maybe they're little easy decisions. Maybe they're things that you can complete within a day. Maybe some it's going to take you a couple of weeks. Maybe some it's going to take you 6 months. Before you know it, you're going to be that person you were pretending to be. You're going to be that person that you looked and sought advice from. You're going to be that person. How important is the word decision to you? Something else is going to help you. Tell others about your decisions. Now, there's something about telling other people what we're going to do that actually helps us follow through. Right? Maybe you want to quit smoking. So why don't you go out and tell 5 or 10 people, hey, next week, I'm going to quit smoking. Then when next week rolls around, you put down your cigarettes. And the thing is, these people that you tell you're going to quit smoking, unless they're really your friends, unless they're your parents, they're not going to give 2 craps whether you quit smoking or not. So you could actually light up in front of them, and they probably wouldn't say anything. But there's something about saying something to someone. It sort of makes it more real. Doesn't it? Now, you want to learn from your past decisions. I mean, even after you fail to follow through with a decision, like the first time, just don't give up. What you want to do is you want to ask yourself, what can I do this time to make it work tomorrow? And, the truth is, you're going to mess up so many times when it comes to making decisions. So instead of beating yourself up over it, learn something from it. There it is again. Learn something from your mistakes. Ask yourself, remind yourself, what was so good about the decision that I made? What was bad about it? What can I learn from it so I can make a better decision next time? And don't put so much emphasis on focusing on short-term effects. You want to focus on the long-term effects. You want to keep that goal in mind. Don't ever, ever, ever take your eye off the ball. Plan for success and execute that plan. Now, I'm going to go back to the study real quick. And this, I want you to hear this. This is from the actual doctor that wrote the study, and I'm just going to read this word for word. For all my skepticism about resolutions, I must confess that I've tried a few over the years. On December 31st, 2000, I vowed that I would give up smoking. Now, just before midnight, I took a long last drag. I threw away the rest of the pack. And how many of you smokers out there have ever done this? And then a couple of days later, maybe that same day, you went ahead and lit up another cigarette. See, it's those decisions that you make that cause the chain reaction. So you light up one, and then you light up another and another. You went the other way. You made the wrong decision. Fight it. Now, the next day I woke up an ex-smoker. For the next few weeks, I'd eye the ember of friends' cigarettes like a cat watching a canary. But I didn't want to go back to the person I'd been before the turn of the millennium. So that smoker is who he didn't want to go back to. So I knew that it would be a long wait for another one to come around. And so day after day, I stuck it out until eventually I realized that my new identity had become concrete. Not only did I not want a cigarette, I couldn't imagine wanting one. And this New Year's Eve, I'll celebrate my 12th year without a smoke. And like I said, this isn't a quit smoking seminar. This isn't a quit drinking. Apply this to whatever you want to apply it to in your life, or don't. You can just call me crazy, and you can just move on. That's fine too, because it happens to me all the time. It really does. You want to be flexible. Now, when you make a decision, it doesn't mean that you can't be open to other options. I mean, let's say you made the decision to actually lose 10 pounds. Say you made that decision to lose 10 pounds maybe by doing cardio, and you want to lose that within a month. Now, if something comes up, you don't have to just do cardio. You can be open to losing weight through doing other things, other types of dieting, as long as it helps you reach your goal in the end. So don't be stubborn. Don't seek out only one way of making a decision. Embrace any new knowledge that brings you closer to accomplishing your initial decision. So always, always, always feed yourself, feed yourself knowledge and learn, because you may come across things that totally change your outlook, that totally change your approach and make it easier or make it more attainable. So read a little bit, talk to people, get advice. And this is important. When you make your decisions, have fun making your decisions. Just enjoy the whole process, because that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking to be a better person. You're looking to be happier. So go ahead and just start now. Just be happy now. Have fun making your decisions. I mean, it might not be the most fun thing in the world to do, but when you do it often, it becomes a game of opportunity. You'll learn a lot about yourself along the way. You'll feel and become a lot more confident when you're with yourself and when you're around others and making decisions. They'll just become a lot easier after you do it. You won't even think about it. Anything you decide to do from this point on can have a profound effect later on in your life. I mean, opportunities, they're always waiting for you. You have to examine the decisions that you currently have in the day. I mean, is there anything that you can do, anything that you can change to just improve your life in some way? Are there any decisions that you can make today that can actually create a better tomorrow for you, that can bring you closer to that future person that you want to be? And I'm telling you, you're going to have to, in your mind, you're going to have to imagine this future you. And you're going to have daily talks with this man or this woman. You're going to have to seek advice. But it's not impossible. If there's something that you don't like in your life, just change it. Wake up tomorrow morning, forget about it. Be that person that you want to be as soon as you get out of bed in the morning. You know, it's really that simple. And it's that excruciatingly difficult, too. It really is. This is the Chris Top program. And I am the one and only Chris Top. Steven says, for 3 days, you can only have a cigarette at the most favorable time, usually after a meal. Then after you have it, you have to sit in a room and not stop smoking until you can finish a carton. Since you won't be able to do that, you'll smoke until you're so sick you'll never want a cigarette again. You know, I don't know if that works. That sounds pretty complicated. It really, really does. This is the Chris Top program. You're absolutely, positively in the right place. When I come back, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts or anything like that, feel free to post them in the chat. Or you can post them on the Facebook page. Maybe you have an inspirational story. Maybe there's something that you changed in your life that you want to share with some other people. Because you never know what sort of impact it's going to have. You never, ever know. And there are a few more things I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back, and we're going to continue on with a typical Chris Top program, because I think I got serious enough for long enough, right? Maybe I helped somebody, maybe I didn't. Maybe I was just trying to inspire myself a little bit tonight. You never know. You know, if I was cool, that would have been a great segue.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Mr. Pop.
Take it from the top.
One resident describes her horrifying experience when she first realized the complex was on fire.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. And then the smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I ran for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got bronchitis. I woke up to go get me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. And then the smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm running for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got bronchitis.
According to the apartment manager, the fire started in a woman's home. She was treated for smoke inhalation at a local hospital.
I got bronchitis.
There were no other reports of injury.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. It's a fire, it's a fire, it's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm running for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm running for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got bronchitis.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Mr. Pop.
Take it from the top.
Sarah said in the chat, she says, my ex was crazy. We just broke up, too. Really? You're going to take jabs at me in the chat? I think people already knew that anyway. Okay. All right. We've been talking about making changes and things like that. And if you're just tuning in or if you missed it, go back and listen. Maybe it'll help you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But sometimes I feel the need to say things. And that was the case today. So we'll see how it goes. Well, maybe you want to lose a little bit of weight. Well, if you think going to Starbucks was healthy, I don't know. It may not be. Maybe it's a little bit better than McDonald's. I mean, I kind of wish I didn't know about the 460 calories in that Starbucks blueberry scone, or the 180 calories in the tall coffee frappuccino. But then again, providing that information so customers can make informed choices is exactly the point. So starting next week, and I hope you're ready for this, America. I hope the world is ready for this. Starbucks will begin posting calorie counts for all their food and drink. See, don't we feel guilty enough? I mean, do we need the calorie counts? I mean, if something is that good, we know it's got to be bad for us. Don't put it in our face. Come on. But they're going to put it in more than 11,000 stores. The company's making the changes ahead of federal regulations set by the Food and Drug Administration, which, just stay out of our business. Just stay out of our business, FDA. All right? If we know we don't need to see the calorie count of a double cheeseburger. We don't need to see it. We know it's bad for us. We just want to sneak off and have one every once in a while. So the FDA is going to require any company that has more than 20 locations to actually post the calorie counts. So you think maybe you'll cut some calories next time and just get maybe a cup of coffee? Probably not. Probably it's not going to make any difference if we see it, because we already know. We're not stupid. We know. I liked Captain America. I loved the Captain America movie. I did. So I'm excited about the new one. Now, they've been very secretive about it. They started filming the sequel, and the name of the movie, it's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, in Cleveland. Now, it's going to come out in 2014, and it's been shooting in the city for about a month. And for about a month, there's been a local newspaper, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, has actually stalked and live blogged the film's public sets. So, I mean, they're like totally going commando with this. They even actually put a Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist on the case. So he actually snapped a picture of Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson kissing. And that picture actually went viral. So we know for a fact that Captain America's in the works. So if you're excited about that like I am. And see, I was worried because I was one of the people that liked Captain America more than Thor. So Thor came out, the second one, and I'm like, really? What about Captain America? I love Captain America's cool. Spider-Man's my favorite. But Captain America's right up there too. I don't know. He's just fun. I don't know. But and then of course the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is coming out. And I miss Tobey Maguire. I do. I miss him as Spider-Man. But I embraced the new Spider-Man. Now, Paul Giamatti, is that how you say his? He's you know who he is, but he's bald, he's tattooed, and overflowing with rage in The Amazing Spider-Man, because he's actually going to play the Rhino. And they're going to also, who else was it? They're going to have Electro in it as well. And that's going to be played by Jamie Foxx. So that should be pretty interesting. So The Amazing Spider-Man 2 actually debuts on May the 2nd, 2014. And you're going to have Andrew Garfield back. Emma Stone's going to be back as Gwen Stacy. So it should be a pretty good sequel, I would think. And I'm looking at a picture of the Rhino right now, and it looks pretty intense. It really, really does. So that's another one that's on the horizon. Now, what about Wonder Woman? I mean, who wouldn't want to see Wonder Woman on the big screen? What guy would not want to see that? And I've mentioned this before. Who do I think would make a great Wonder Woman? and some of you already know this. You know the chick off The Walking Dead? I can't even think of her name right now. She dates the Asian kid in the show. She would be a great Wonder Woman. First off, she's smoking hot, and she's just got the features, and she can be tough. So, I mean, why? I hope. It would be so cool for me if I was right about that. That would give me definite bragging rights, is what that would do. So maybe, see, nobody's even said that, but I think it would be cool if she actually played Wonder Woman. And it's believed to be in Warner Brothers ownership. But at this point, little has actually been done to make a Wonder Woman movie. So maybe it's more speculation than talk. I don't know. But it is possible. So we could have an actual Wonder Woman movie on the horizon. And, you know, if they're ever going to make a Justice League movie, and see, I'm totally dorked out right now. I am. And that's okay. But they're going to have Wonder Woman in it. Right? And they can pretty much leave out everybody. You know, they could put everybody in except for Aquaman. I would be good, because Aquaman's only cool in the water. I don't know how much bad stuff goes down in the water. I don't know how he would probably be the least busy of all the superheroes in the Justice League, I would think. And really and truly, if you have Superman, who else do you really need? Honestly, because I mean, Superman can do everything. And get this, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's going to be back as the Terminator in 2014. How old is he now? I mean, can they polish him up enough where he's going to look like he's a machine and he's still youthful? I don't know. So he's an action movie veteran, and of course I'm going to go see it. But it's been confirmed that he will be returning as the futuristic robot character in Terminator 5. So he made a speech at a 21st Century Financial Education Summit, and this was in Australia this week. It appears he even has a start date on his schedule. So Terminator 5 is in the works, and it is going to be starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. So what do you think? I mean, is he getting too old to play Terminator? Is he? See, Steven says, what character does Scarlett Johansson play again? Never mind, who cares? It's Scarlett Johansson. That's true. That's a very good point. You know, I think we're going to wrap things up. I've went pretty long. It's getting close to 2 a.m. now, and I really need to get some sleep. And tomorrow's my last day off, or today is. And I'm going to try. And actually, Desi, if you're still listening, I don't think I'm going to change the date, because if I do a show today, then I'll have so I'm just going to leave the date on the 18th. I'm just going to pretend that I started it yesterday, so then I'll just label my new show as the 19th. That's my game plan. But I do appreciate you guys listening, I do. And before I go, if you do a show here on Spreaker, go ahead and take just a minute to spread the Spreaker love. Type the word show into the chat if you have a show on Spreaker. Make sure you click on them, at least give them one listen. If you like it, that's cool. If you don't like it, whatever. At least you gave it a shot. And it may make somebody's day if you jump in and listen to their show at least one time. Because, you know, I know how it is. There are so many shows on Spreaker, and so many times people end up broadcasting to no one. And that's never fun. You wouldn't broadcast if you didn't want somebody to listen to what you had to say. So at least give them one chance.
We're just here to spread that love all around. Spread it around. Spread it around.
And Stephen brought up a very good point. I mean, they may have to give him a walker, but I mean, at least the walkers are kind of shiny, and it could be a futuristic looking walker. It could be like one of those hover walkers. You never know. Thank you guys so much for listening. Whether you're listening now and you're in the chat, whether you're listening on a different site where I've got it set up, Whether you go back and listen tomorrow or a week from now, whatever, I appreciate you, I do. I do not, nor will I ever take any of you for granted, because there are a million other things you could be doing, but you chose to spend this time with me. Really does make me feel good. Until I broadcast again, please remember, life is good, and I'm gone.
Is it over yet?
Completely over.
You have been exposed to the Chris Top program.
Yeah, okay, are we done? I really gotta get a life.
So let me ask you this. Was the show in vain? I know. If you don't ever listen to the show, you don't know that I come back. But this is for the people that are our listeners, and they know better than turn it off, because I always come back just for a minute. Was the show in vain? You think, did I help you a little bit? I mean, I helped myself. I inspired myself. Now, whether or not I stick with it, I don't know. But we'll see. It's about having the motivation. It's about just doing it. Just getting out and doing it. That's all it is. Now, I guess we could talk about one more thing, and then we'll just wrap it up for good this time. And I promise we'll wrap it up for good this time. The question is, this is a very important story. Now, if you have a young kid, like a young boy, if you're a father, you really need to watch out for your kid. I'm going to tell you why. There's something. This is an epidemic. I had no idea this was going on, but it's pretty scary stuff. And I feel like if this had ever happened to me, I would remember. Emergency rooms, they're seeing a growing number of little lads who've caught the painful brunt of a dropped lid while toilet training. Yeah, that's right. The lid falls down, smacks it. Yeah. That it couldn't feel good. So, standing in front of the bowl, many boys have gotten themselves caught in the clamping strike of a falling lid. Hospitals have actually named this crush injuries. This is a common thing. They've given it a name. I had no clue. No clue what. So if you have a young child who is toilet training, keep a good eye out, because you don't want to be rushing him to the emergency room for a crush injury. Children 7 years and younger made up 97% of the 13,175 toilet-related crush injuries between 2002 and 2010 due to their underdeveloped reflexes and, their precarious positioning at the bowl. See, adults don't have this, unless you're a little person. You're not going to have this problem, but if you're a young kid and you just, it's right there where it could, then there could be a problem. So maybe you could put some kind of no, that wouldn't be healthy. I was going to say you could put some kind of a foam under the toilet lid, like between the toilet lid and the bowl. But that's going to get all germy and stuff. So you really can't do that. Maybe some kind of a soft rubber, and then you could go through and just, spray it down with some 409 every day. I'm just trying to help, is all. But I mean, really, it's not a big number. 13,000 within 8 years. It's not a big number, but it's not a good thing for those 13,000. All right, so just be careful. Watch your kids. See, you've got to watch your kids all the time. Everywhere they can't even potty train without worrying about getting hurt now. Really? What's this world coming to? See, Sonia said, ouch, she's not even a dude. Steven says, I know my son's really careless when it comes to that. So you're going to have to help them. You're going to have to help your little guy help his little guy. Steven says, each time I've watched it, I cringe. He's been okay every time since. So keep an eye out for your little guys and make sure they watch their little guys as well. Thank you so much for listening. Until I broadcast again, please remember, life is good, and I'm gone.
So you know now.
Of course. Do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
its reckoning. Mr. Top.
Why didn't you just kill me?
Your punishment must be more severe. When Spreaker is ashes, you have my permission to die. Let the games begin.